but is the co-main and the return of the King of Rio, Jose Aldo. So bantamweight division, you've got Jonathan Martinez is 19-4-0 in the red corner. Then you've got Jose Aldo with 31-8-0. This guy is a veteran. Don't be mistaken. He's been in there for years and with some of the best strikers. He's been in there with some of the best fighters in and outside of Brazil. And he's coming back for one last stunt as well, one last stint, one last time. One might only question what his motives really are. Any big differences there? It's not obvious on the card, on the tail of the tape. But one thing we do know is this fight is probably going to be won with the leg kicks, Yeah.
I mean, we saw against, who did he fight last? Martinez.
Martinez.
Oh, Yanez.
Yeah, Adrian Yanez.
And he stopped him with leg kicks. And that was one of the most brutal fights I've seen for just leg kicks.
Yeah, it was a little...
it was really hard to watch.
It certainly was.
I mean, Aldo's almost been known as the king of leg kicks. However, if you watched his later fights in UFC, he kind of slowed down because I think he had sustained a lot of injuries by kicking over the years.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's had quite a bit of a break now from kicking. He's been doing boxing and actually been doing well there. I just think Martinez is so hungry at the moment, though, and you saw that in his last fight and in his fights before that.
Mm.
And you asked the question, what's Aldo's motives for taking this fight? Because he was out of the game, he'd retired. This suggests to me he's here. This is the last fight on his contract officially as well, isn't it?
Yeah, last on his contract, exactly. That'll be official. Is it for a paycheck, do you reckon?
Or I think it's his last fight to fight off, and then he can go and fully submerge himself into boxing. I think he probably just wanted to get this out of the way, so he's not obligated with the UFC or under contract with them anymore.
Probably right. Yeah, there might have been some sort of clause in there where he had to come back in order to actually do what he wanted to do elsewhere. But his heart's got to be in it, right? Like he's going to be fighting in front of his fellow countrymen. So he's going to want to do it in a big way rather than, I'm done. Screw you guys.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely won't want to go out there and get embarrassed or lose. I wonder how much he's really putting into it, though. Because this, with all due respect to Jonathan Martinez, if he wins this fight, what does it do for it? It doesn't really do anything for him as such. He's not going to get a title shot off the back of it. I don't see him continuing in MMA, but it was a very weird announcement when it happened, and I'm still perplexed by it now, if I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, true. Do you think anything he's been working on over the last 2 years is actually going to be useful for him in this fight? Or, I mean, he's been away, he's been looking to get into boxing, but he's against a kicker. Do you know what I mean? Is it useless? All of what he's gained over the last 2 years, or?
If I'm going to be honest, I hope whatever he's gained from boxing in the last 2 years, he leaves in boxing, because the boxing range and the kicking range is such a different spectrum. Like we're talking about a lot of leeway here. Boxing range, you're effectively a jab away from your opponent.
Yeah,
Kicking range and kicking length is way different. And if you're in boxing range against a kicker, it's gonna be horrible, especially if you start in a boxing stance and you're heavy on your front leg and you start getting pieced up on that front leg, and then are you going to sit there in the same stance? If you switch, then the person knows you're hurt as well. You're not going to be as effective from an opposite stance. So I hope he goes back to the old Aldo and the MMA Aldo and not the boxing Aldo, or else I think it's going to be a really rough night for him.
Yeah, he's going to have to get real close and physical. I think you kind of got crowd kickers, don't you? Be a full-on forwards threat or ever be wet out of there. You got to be wet out of dodge, elsewise. But stylistically, you got two kickers here, and no one's more experienced in the kicks than Jose Aldo, and no one's more lethal with those kicks than Martinez. But one would hope that it cancels each other out, as we've seen sometimes with two grapplers meet in the octagon. They just become strikers for 15 minutes. But so I've been wondering how that plays out. It's interesting nonetheless. But do you reckon, quickly, just looking at Martinez, if he would be starstruck in some way? Because this is the King of Rio returning for his final, his final hoo-ha. He's got his whole audience there as well. It's going to be a huge atmosphere. It's a big night. He's an absolute legend of sport. No doubt Martinez loves him as much as we all do. Do you think he'll be a bit starstruck, or that's just not going to happen to this guy?
I think he will be starstruck. I think it'd be crazy not to be starstruck. I
Yeah,
think
would you?
not just as a Brazilian, but as an MMA fan,
Yeah.
like Jose Aldo is like
It's an
everything.
honor. He's literally
Yeah,
seeing him off.
yeah, like this. It doesn't get any bigger than this. But I mean, we'll only know on the night. It's going to go one of two ways. It's going to be Pat Berry versus Mirko Krokop, or it's going to be DC versus Dan Henderson, where DC looked like he actually hated Dan Henderson. It wasn't his idol.
Yeah.
So if you approach it like DC, then we're going to have a good fight. If you approach it like Pat Berry and Mirko Krokop, then he's going to get battered by Aldo.
Yeah.
He'll have no mercy.
Yeah, I
So,
don't think Aldo is going to be one for mercy. He's
he has to be switched on.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's get those gauges up and see what people are saying in the chats as well. Co-main is up here, and we'll look at striking in just a second. But for now, we've got George Merry saying, I'm going for the new champ. That's his most confident pick. George Merry's most confident pick is going to be Urseg. So I just have to say Pantoja, and he's buying me 2 Chineses. Chinese, I don't know, it's the plural of Chinese. All right. Ash Easton says, will Aldo throw kicks? Big question mark. Yeah, I guess he probably said that just before we was discussing it. But yeah, that's something, that's a good question because we've seen less of it as of late. I think he's going to be experienced enough to either avoid them or throw some of his own back in return. But I think, for someone who's got so much experience with kicks, he might have an answer for Martinez's. Because, that's not a question. Will Martinez throw kicks? Yeah, he will.
Yeah. He better.
Yeah, better do. Rice in the chat says, oi lads, cheers for Wichita, Kansas. From Wichita, Kansas. Okay, so Rice is over in Kansas. Hey, not bad. Thanks for chiming in, Rice. Thanks for coming down. It's good to have you on board, bro. Get on the Armor Reforger, lad. We're attacking Monty right now. Absolutely madhouse, lads. I just realized I don't think I speak Wichita, Kansas. I didn't quite catch what that one meant. Sounds like might be a drink, Armor Reforger. Fill us in, Rice. But otherwise, it sounds like you're having a cracking time, bro. And but yeah, we all will be having a cracking time come this weekend when 301 happens. Do jump back in for the watch long. We'll be doing that 3 a.m. our time over here in the UK on Sunday morning for the full main card anyway. Striking. What are you saying? Who gets that?
Oh, it's a tough one. I'm actually going to go Aldo.
Aldo, yeah. We kind of, part of me is out of respect. Do you know what I mean?
I think he'll have crisper boxing. And obviously his kick game is legendary, even if he doesn't use it as much now. I'm going to go striking Aldo.
Because you also got to bear in mind, striking does consider the kicks, like the variety of tools that you're going to bring to the fight. I might be tempted to even say this one would be Martinez. It is a tough one, agreed. I might even tempted to say Martinez because of how he weaponizes those kicks, and just how rapid he is.
Very true. Very true. I mean, we speak about Aldo's kicking game, but it's predominantly his leg kicks. We don't really see him teep and do push kicks as such. He does it now and again, but you wouldn't say he does it predominantly like an old Conor McGregor, for example.
Yeah.
But I do think his boxing has always been clean.
Yeah.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one.
Let's go with that. Let's see if the numbers help us out. So on paper, of course, it suggests he does land, Martinez would land more per minute, suggesting significant strikes, Martinez as well, absorbed per minute. It's pretty much bang on even for both of them. So on paper, it would edge Martinez in striking. Otherwise, I could go either way, to be honest. Yeah, not much difference in average fight time either. What are we saying? Should we leave on Aldo?
No, I'm happy to go Martinez. I think that you got to pay respect to the stats sometimes.
Yeah, on paper. We'll go on paper, and then that way it's like, don't blame us. On paper it says so. You know what I mean? When it's so tight, it's like, right.
On us, yeah.
Exactly, yeah, go to check it out. It's the website. Grappling wise, who do you reckon will get that? It's not really a particular style for any of these guys, but who would use it more likely in this fight should it come to it?
I'm gonna say Aldo because I remember his fight against Marlon Chito Vera, where he leaned on his grappling, and yeah, it wasn't necessarily the most offensive grappling, but he
Yeah,
managed to control him and get the win. And I think if he has to do that again, I think he can.
yeah, yeah. I think you're probably right. If anyone's going to be able to use it effectively, Aldo would be the guy for it. And power? Who gets power?
Oh, I might actually go Martinez for this one at this point in their careers.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not just talking about punch and power. You know, it's the leg kick power too.
But that Yanis fight sticks with me. I just
Yeah, yeah,
to stop someone from leg kicks, you've got to be throwing a lot of power, and they
yeah,
just look brutal.
yeah. I mean, you got to be violent for the crowd to be going from "yeah, hit him" to "leave him alone, leave him alone."
The O's went to ooh.
Yeah, exactly. Yo, yeah, exactly. You just
like, oh,
switch. You know, you're violent then. So that's some power. Martinez got that. All right, speed. Who's gonna have the speed advantage? Because for most matchups, I would say Aldo's fast, but also with just the factor of slowing down, of age and time, and I do know Martinez is just young and rapid.
He is. Maybe it's just me being biased. I think I'm gonna go Aldo still with the speed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm happy to do that. If out of respect for anything, but yeah. But cardio. Who gets cardio?
You gotta go Aldo cardio.
Yeah.
How many times with 5-round and 3-round?
He's been in those wars. He's been to the very ends, the beginning to the ends. Well, that's how it looks. Would you go Aldo on the night, or would you side with Martinez?
And Martinez on the night. I think that hunger and that passion to win.
Yeah. And there's your X factor right there.
Yeah.
Another thing you can't really measure or quantify.
Exactly. But you can't measure it, but you can just sense it.
Yeah. You can see it there.
And this will be the biggest fight of his life. If he can get a win over Aldo in Brazil, in Rio, you tell your great grandkids about that, and their great grandkids will be told about it as well.
True.
So,
yeah. Man.
I think you go Martinez.
He's a family man. Do you reckon you feel a bit dirty about, taking that from Aldo in his country? Do you feel like, I can't believe we've done it to Aldo? It's a bit...
I think he'll say that in public, but behind closed doors. I think he'll walk around and be like, I'm the guy that retired Joe.
Yeah. I took this from you. Say something else. Rice chiming in there in the chats. He says, absolutely cracking. No, you are absolutely cracking, Rice. You are.